Demonic Angel. Today I'm going to cover the Six of Wands. First, just a bit of news is that I'm back from a hiking and camping trip, and we stayed in the cabin, an extra cabin rental, a few extra days. But I realized that I did not get content for September's Patreon stuff. So I'm going to make 2 videos to make up for that and post them this month. I'm really sorry. And then I think I saw somebody was having issues. So I will get back an email to those, who I'm talking to. And otherwise, I'm going to fix the Patreon so that account so you can access it. But yeah, when I was away, I did actually have a hardcover book and my tarot cards, and we'll talk about the gentleman whose book I recently reread, and about some of the relevance, and just kind of taking especially the last few tarot cards that I have not covered, and thinking about them. That's my favorite part about tarot, is just contemplating the cards, like thinking about them in maybe a different location while you just kind of sit there in the evening, or also just you can look at this card when you're in a really good kind of place, really feel good day, everything's going your way, and then you come back to it and you kind of see some of this stuff when things aren't going swimmingly. But it's all a big part of this. So each time, the feeling I get when I come back to it is that I learned something new. I experienced something that I needed to experience, and now it kind of adds in some way to this, the story here. So, each time that I experience the Six of Wands in some way, literally, or in my mind, or through somebody else vicariously there, it's a different, it's like a different wand, maybe a different part of the laurel leaf, different part of the outfit. Almost like each time that I think about it, it really is adding to the story, putting together a puzzle. That's the way I really like to think about tarot. So, yeah, the Six of Wands, I'm using the RWS Deck. This is really a triumphant, victorious card. He has the laurel leaf on the the wand that's the tallest with a ribbon. So this is a celebratory accomplishment. This is triumph, victory. That's what the laurel leaves pretty much throughout the tarot represent. That's what they represented to the ancient Greeks and Romans. And so this guy, he is the leader of some kind, the individual in this card who stands out. So his wand is the tallest. So his ideas are really drawing people in. He's a very magnetic personality. His ideas literally do stand above the rest. And that's what made him such a really great character here to fill this spot of triumph and celebration. But one thing of note that kind of we look at first is that he's not showing his muscles and like huffing and sweating, or peering down at the crowd from a really tall castle. He doesn't even really look excited. So this guy, he's still pretty grounded. He's still, he takes the victory with the failures. He does understand this is just a, stop along the way of individuation. So maybe that's why he's such a great leader in part, because he really knows that the journey is the destination, and we're all human beings in some kinds of basic, primal, fundamental ways, and he can project and connect with others, and that kind of tapping into that part of himself. Really, really awesome. Of course, all the different little sprouts off of the wands are, you know, like these two here. That's kind of like, to me, a little bit about maybe some of his failures in the past that he's really learned from, because they don't have sprouts, but the ones in the front do. So this is a sprout of new ideas, the promise of the future and growth, and you know, leaving the past behind in this healthy way, but still, it still is affecting him. He learned from it in such a personal way, because it's ideas. It's like always in his mind, but in a way of, okay, so how did this, what I went through, the losses, how can I apply it to the current situation and, you know, gain advantage from my, you know, pull out another one of my experiences to, you know, to gain victory. Very kind of an intellectual, introverted leader, but he's still, you know, here enjoying this. We don't really see his face, so he's looking off into the distance. Maybe it's like other lands, other battles, the future, you know, his next conquest, the next adventure. This guy's an adventurer. He, you know, he just got done going through a battle of some kind, and to him this is an adventure. And now he's looking off into the distance at, okay, so what's next? What's the next adventure that I'm going to go on? So that's kind of goes along with his horse here, you know, traveling, a real part of connectedness of a moment from, you know, the human soul traveling from the astral plane to experience the physical plane. So, you know, travel between dimensions, you know, representing by the horse. That, you know, we look at stuff like the Ars Goetia and we get horses in that represents movement, flight, usually between planes of existence or planes of consciousness. So this is really a grounding experience for this individual, because they learn so much from it. So it's not just like an event in your life that you really don't get a lot out of. This moment is very much appreciated before moving on. So he's fully in this moment in this really great way. So, you know, he has the laurel leaf of victory. But then we'll kind of look here in the very back. So we got a jealous gentleman in the back. It looks like, I mean, could be a lady. And he is looking up at him with kind of envy, jealousy, like, yeah, you're the leader. But the guy, our writer, he does not notice, nor does he pay attention to all the onlookers and the followers, basically those he has influenced. He's not paying attention to none of it. He is just in himself, confident in himself, and that again kind of points to this balanced, healthy way I describe him, because he's not, you know, pursuing the trolls. He's not engaged in the drama, the negativity, but nor is he just, you know, so intoxicated by the success and the influence that he knows he has, that he's just, you know, living or celebrating too lavishly, just, as I mentioned, a general intoxication from success. That's not happening because he's not paying attention to any of it. He's within himself. So these people, they either love him or hate him. I mean, either way, they're following him. They're pursuing to be influenced by this guy. But, you know, that's no business of his. So he's moving right along. So always a nice reminder to move on from the drama. What other people think is none of your business, right? That's this guy. So he, you know, he's very influential. He's got his very earthy looking garments, you know, so it is still kind of like a robe, and you know, the orange and the red, very grounding colors of the earth. But then he's got his horse in this very lavish kind of a way. That's the one kind of thing he spoiled himself with, right? Is he even got like this ornamental, beautiful studded strap for the horse. So, and then it's even got the little, you know, hey, I want you to deck my horse out with the same, you know, gosh, what am I going to want to call this? Tassels? That's not it. Those are things that hang. But the style of boots from like the Middle Ages, and he's matching his horse. So this is like, this guy, he's really eccentric, and this is him, right? His main thing is pursuing his own interests, expressing himself. So it really is also about, you know, we kind of get that in the Queen of Wands. Sorry, my foot fell asleep. The Queen of Wands, where she's very like eccentric, putting herself out there. You know, she's got her pet familiar black cat for everybody to see, even though black cats kind of have this negative connotation with, you know, in Western culture of harbingers of some kind of doom. This lady doesn't care. It's just like, this is me, you know, experience me, and that's it. I'm all, this person is a very whole individual, so they're just really about expressing themselves. It's not just about you know, pleasing other people and living in other people's emotional lives in their head, living in your own head, because you're like, you have a set, you know, things that you like. It might be weird food, it might be odd behavior that maybe is a little bit OCD, whatever. But I think that it really speaks to moments of where it's just brilliantly you. It's so unique. It's just so like your signature, really. It's almost like your psychological soul profile sigil, all in one. And that's what I really like about this card. So he's going on with his horse. You know, it reversed. It's kind of like, you know, maybe you really did get somewhere, and, you know, being intoxicated with the success. So, gosh, now all these people tell me I'm attractive. Maybe they come to me for advice, and it's just, boy, it's really getting in my head. I'm so much better than you. And it's very subconscious. So you start treating other people like, basically, probably you'd stop saying please and thank you, stop using your manners, and just, okay, get me this, get me that, you know, because I'm very important, and you might, you know, the people I influence are just supposed to basically cater to me. It's usually not a conscious process until this, you know, later on, but it is kind of how people do become intoxicated after they get a little bit of success in life, and they realize, maybe like somebody loses a lot of weight, and then they're just so enamored with people talking about the way they look, anything like that, you know, just instead of saving money from the successful project, now it's time to go gamble and you know, pursue literal intoxicants, and now you're going to blow all your money. This could have been a victory that you could rely on in the future, the literal financial gain. This should be saved. This is this guy, he's, you know, upright, he's very frugal and calculated, so he can rely on himself. But, you know, if you just pursue everybody around you acting like, wow, you're the next hot thing, it is very distracting, intoxicating, and you know, you get off track, or you're so overwhelmed by somebody being negative about you. And in most cases, this is like the family drama, the unnecessary kinds of, it can be family drama, unnecessary kinds of stuff, like people just talking about your weight, something about your physical appearance, something kind of, you know what I noticed is something really small, like somebody will say, like a backhanded compliment, like, you did really good on that, but and then they just start talking about themselves, you know, and you just want somebody to truly appreciate you, and you're just kind of in that place where you really have to have high defenses, be, you know, really paying attention to grounding techniques to not absorb that negative energy of trolls of any kind. It's hard. It really is just plain hard. No matter the situation, it really should just be tuned out. Unfortunately, that's not an easy thing to do, and it has to be, you know, consciously brought to the table and then put into habit and practice to really not get lost in that criticism, negativity, public display in this gossipy, dramatic way that does nothing for any of the participants, the audience or the celebrity, let's say. So this is really, you know, also just maybe like a sense of not really being prepared, because there's a lot of battles ahead. We're only halfway through the suit here, so you know, you squander your resources, you're not gonna, you know, have enough to sustain yourself as you go on. So it's like draining yourself so you run out of ideas. That's what wands are, is ideas. So now, you know, if you don't treat yourself right in this chronic kind of a way, you'll close the energy flow to creativity, and you will have a period of stagnation, stop running out of ideas. We all do. That happens. So it's just, the tarot has lots to say about all of it. Don't pay attention to those kinds of people. And it works those both ways, that it's, the praise is great, but the trolls are bad, and you want to leave it, the healthiest thing is to leave it all behind and not get so lost in that, thinking that you're better than other people just because you have a success, you know, still keeping others in mind as you become successful, being able to reconnect with your old poorer self, younger, maybe angrier. You know, if you can connect with your old self when we were all really young and we just experienced those things, then you can understand people who go through that and sometimes be able to approach them successfully based on, hey, I have been there before. I understand the meaning of it. You know, you're still part of the community of these people who are looking to you for influence, are not to just be like thrown away in that sense. That remember that they were part of what your success is, because if no one is here to cheer you on, this is not the same card. So it's, even though we don't want to get lost in the crowd, the emotions of them, they're still a very integral part of this. And you know, on your way, when you are successful, give back in some way to the community. That's a really great way to balance your own energy of this, and that way you're not lost in the individuals, but you're, you know, catering and crafting your success to charities, to philanthropy in some beautiful way if you ever get the chance in this lifetime. So I hope you guys enjoyed the Six of Wands. My Patreon page is in the link below. I will fix it up, email everybody back, and have that content available, the 2 extra videos available soon.